As I sat down for dinner last night, I tuned into Disney Plus, and I saw that one of the things they uploaded recently was the 2020 documentary on the celebration of 100 years of Disney, which I do highly recommend you watch because it's very, very good. And if you're a Disney fan, you owe yourself, you owe it to yourself, I should say, to see it. But why do I bring this up? Well, of course, they talked about how the Walt Disney Company started and and where it is today. And of course, what they talked about on how it started, of course, began with things that Disney was noted for. The Alice comedies, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and of course Mickey Mouse. And when they got to Mickey Mouse, it did kind of confirm mine and everybody else's suspicions, or some other people's suspicions that may not, be totally in the clear or have total clarity as to what's public domain and what's not. And what I mean by that is, of course, we know that at the beginning of this year, the first synchronized sound cartoon, Steamboat Willie, went into public domain. What we may not know, or some people may not know, but have a suspicion may be the case, is that there were other, Mickey Mouse cartoons that came out around the same time. The other ones being Plain Crazy, which came out before, apparently. When you watch this documentary, it shows it in this category. Or shows it in this chronological order. The first one that came out apparently before Steamboat Willie was Plain Crazy, then Steamboat Willie, then the Galloping Gaucho. Yeah, the Galloping Gaucho came out before or after Steamboat Willie. And you might ask yourself, well, why are you bringing these? Why do you bring those up, Brian? Why do you bring those up? Well, I'll tell you. I bring those up because the original Plain Crazy and Galloping Gaucho came out in 1928 alongside Steamboat Willie. Again, Steamboat Willie is most notable because it's the first cartoon with synchronized sound, which is why it's the more talked about out of the Mickey Mouse trio of cartoons from 1928. Now, I bring this up because I think this is why some indie developers are able to skew and skirt around any potential trouble they may face. Because they could basically come out and say, yes, this is Mickey Mouse, but it's the 1920 Plain Crazy or 1928 Galloping Gaucho. Did I say 1920? I do apologize. It's early. It's about 8:38 in the morning. I do apologize. I might be stumbling my words here. But anyway, getting back on point. They could argue, if they try, to kind of skew and skirt around any legal issues, that the Mickey Mouse they're using is based on the 1928 Plain Crazy Mickey Mouse and the 1928 Galloping Gaucho Mickey Mouse, not Steamboat Willie. And here's what's interesting, though. The only reason people would say it's based off Steamboat Willie, because, again, going back to what I said, Steamboat Willie is the more notable one out of the three because it's the one with synchronized sound, and it's the most recognizable one when it comes to Disney. So what would that mean for, let's say, Mickey's Mousetrap? Well, let's say Disney decides to try to do a cease and desist, to prevent its release from ever happening, and it getting shelved for at least, maybe a decade, if not indefinitely. The people behind the films like BritFlix and Simon Phillips, they could come out and counter-argue with Disney and say, yeah, you have the right to try to stop us, but we also have the right to use this because it's not totally based on Steamboat Willie. It's based on Plain Crazy Mickey. It's based on Galloping Gaucho Mickey. And by saying that, they'd be able to utilize it. The same with, when you think about it, the Inverse Ninjas. Yeah, they might face a little bit more legal trouble, from Disney than anybody else, but they can come out and say, well, we kind of changed up to his design. He's got a trench coat now, he's got red overalls, and oh, by the way, he's based off 1928 Plain Crazy Mickey Mouse, not Steamboat Willie. They could say that, and surprisingly, believe it or not, they, along with the people behind Mickey's Mousetrap, would probably win. Because they would point out that the original Plain Crazy and the original Galloping Gaucho all came out within the same year as Steamboat Willie. And that they're only using the notoriety that Steamboat Willie has to promote their projects. So yeah, when you really get down to it, they actually have found a way to skew, if not skirt, around the whole legal issue that they may, be facing. But does that mean they'd be totally in the clear? Honestly, not really. Disney might be told by, let's say, a judge, hey, they're totally right. It does show that, they are basing it off a 1928 Mickey Mouse, so, they are in the right to do this. And Disney might have to be like, okay, fine, you win this round. But then they might say, hey, however, if you ever do anything like this again, please try to differentiate your Mickey, your plain crazy Mickey or Mortimer or whatever they're going to call it, or your Galloping Gaucho Mickey or whatever they're going to call it, and your Steamboat Willie Mickey or whatever they're going to call it. They'll probably say, hey, you win this time, but let us warn you right now, if you don't differentiate your version, we will come after you again. We will take you to court, a higher court, and we will win. Because Disney, when they get defeated, they'll find a way to bounce back, and as history has shown, legally, they will find a way to get even with those that put them down. They always find a way to bounce back up and put the people that the people or the companies that put them down themselves. That's what they've been known to do. They've always found a way to get, the payback, if you will. However, getting back on topic, this actually is, something that when you think about it, could be the reason why some people feel like, hey, Mickey's Mousetrap may not get in trouble or any other projects may not get in trouble and all that. It's because basically they're not totally using Steamboat Willie, from 1928. They're just using the notoriety of it because it was the first cartoon with synchronized sound. And that basically they're really using, or basing their Mickey Mouse characters off the prior 1928 cartoons, like Plain Crazy and the Galloping Gaucho. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Now, again, I'm not saying that's going to put them in the clear. It may allow them to get away with what they're going to do, but they may, like I said, get a warning from Disney of, hey, change up, your character to differentiate from ours, and you won't have to face any more trouble. I mean, this is why some people, give, Infant Station Origins, formerly Infant Station 88. This is why they're giving them a little bit of a credit and maybe a pass. Because, yes, you could tell that the character is based off Steamboat Willie Mickey, but not entirely. Because you have one with the Steamboat Willie hat, and you have one without the hat. So you can kind of tell that they're basing it not just on the very notable Steamboat Willie, version of Mickey Mouse, but they're also trying to maybe cover the bases by basing, it on the other 1928 Mickey Mouses by showing it without the hat. They're basically being like, okay, we can do it with the hat, but let's also take the hat off just in case, hey, we face any, legal issues in the future. And like I said before, there's a lot of people that, are working on future Steamboat Willie projects. Some are already out here on YouTube, believe it or not, and they don't even look like Mickey, but they're based off, the public domain version of Steamboat Willie, at least by name or something like that, but they're not, with the design and everything. But those that are working on future projects, they're probably looking into this right now. They're doing research themselves and realizing, okay, if we're going to do a Steamboat Willie, horror film, comedy, adult film with softcore and everything, whatever, we got to make sure that we differentiate that this Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, by extension, because it also involves Minnie Mouse, that these characters are based off the 1928 versions of Plain Crazy, Galloping Gaucho, and Steamboat Willie. We got to differentiate that that's what they're based on. We can't just straight up say, oh, it's Mickey and Minnie in an adult softcore film. We can't just do that. No. We got to say that these are based on the 1928 versions that we also see in Plain Crazy and in the Galloping Gaucho. They got to base it on those. They got to base it on those, or at least allude to the fact that they're based on those. That way they don't, face any legal issues, in the future, which would be a good move. So for anybody that's working on future projects right now or trying to wrap them up, hopefully they've come to realize, hey, we're going to make sure that, you know, we don't get into any legal trouble and we have all our bases covered. We have all our bases covered. So I think that's, so honestly, when I think about it, you know, after watching or rewatching, because I did watch it originally on ABC, not all of it, but most of it. But after watching the whole thing yesterday on Disney Plus, which again I highly recommend you watch. You owe yourself to it too, or you owe it to yourself, I should say, to watch it. Again, I do apologize; it is early in the morning on this Monday, but again, I believe you do owe it to yourself to watch it and everything. But after watching it and everything, you know, I kind of have an idea as to why, you know, at least a better idea, if not, kind of have a confirmation of my suspicions as to why people are able to get away with certain projects that may get them in trouble. I mean, you know, I get where Clownfish, you know, Geeky Sparkles and Neon or Clownfish TV, you know, where they're coming from when they say, hey, Mickey's Mouse Chat might be an issue. And that might be true. That might be true if they decide, hey, if Disney decides, hey, you're infringing on Mickey here. And, you know, and even though people could say, well, it's playing crazy Mickey, they say, yeah, but that's not in public domain yet, you know, and that could cause a bit of a legal battle. The only thing that could save them is saying, yeah, but Playing Crazy originally came out in 1928. It didn't get sound until the following year. So that could be what saves them. You know, that could be what saves them from any legal issue. If they say, yeah, it's based on Playing Crazy Mickey or Playing Crazy Mortimer Mickey, but it's not the one with sound. It's not the one with sound. And they can say the same with the Galloping Gaucho. It's not the one with sound. It's not the one with sound. So by, you know, bringing that up, you know, from a legal standpoint, they could get away with it. They could actually win out. You know, when you think about it, they could actually win out when you think about it. Again, you know, watching the whole thing last night while I was eating dinner and seeing that, not only did it confirm my suspicions and everything that, yeah, this is probably why we're getting all these projects, but it did kind of reaffirm that it's not just Steamboat Willie that people are doing, you know, people are basing their projects on. No, it's not just Steamboat Willie. You know, what they're basing them on is, you know, the other Mickey Mouses that came out in that same time period, but they're only using the notoriety of Steamboat Willie to capitalize on to get those projects out there. That's what they're doing. You know, that's what they're doing. But hey, that's just my opinion. Again, I recommend you check out this documentary on Disney Plus. You'll like it. You will enjoy it and everything. And once you see what I'm talking about, maybe you too will understand, oh yeah, that's why people are able to do this. So that's up to your own judgment. Let me know what your thoughts are, okay? But until next time, guys, I will talk to you all later. Again, I do apologize if I stuttered all over the place or rambled all over the place. It is early. It's almost 9 o'clock. I'm still kind of waking up a little bit, drinking some coffee here and there. But until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you think I have a point here. Do you think maybe people are just capitalizing on the notoriety of Steamboat Willie, but are actually trying to base some of these projects on the other 1928 Mickey Mouse cartoons and designs? Let me know. Love to hear from each and every one of you. And until then, I will talk to y'all later. Again, I do apologize for any rambleousness or pauses. I do apologize. Like I said, it is early, so bear with me on this. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. And until next time, I am out.